minute, my world is spinning. There is something I need to know. Oh, but I know love when I see it. But you don't have to go home, you can stay tonight. We can keep on vibing till the morning light. Stay.
Hello everyone, my name is Coco45, and today we're back in the Making of a Castle series with, as always, if you're new to this series, you may want to go back to catch up, and the playlist will be linked above. Now today, I am adding some roofing and detailing to the turrets of my castle. Last episode we talked a lot about the texturing, but today it's going to be all about color. Now, there are infinite colors with infinite combinations that could result in many different themes. And I'm not going to go through them all. Instead, I'll just be explaining the basic idea around color palettes and how to better integrate them to your build. Now, the most important thing to remember is these rules are really not super strict. There are exceptions, and when it comes down to it, if you like what you've made, that's all that matters. Now let's get into it. First, we have warm and cool colors, and you might have learned this in an art class when you were younger. Warm colors are colors that have mostly yellow, orange, or red in them. And cool colors are colors that mostly have green, blue, or purple. Brown is typically considered a warm color, and white and black are both neutral. For those two, it depends entirely on what other colors are around them. And something to keep in mind, what might look like a cool color is actually a warm color in some cases, and vice versa. A lime green, for example, would actually be considered a warmer color because although it has green in it, which is a cool color, the tone, a more yellowy green tone than just plain green, is what makes it a warmer color. Generally, the best way to do it is colors that make you think of like a really bright summer day, bright greens, bright reds, oranges, yellows, pinks, that sort of thing, even some purples. Those are always going to be warmer colors, whereas any blue, white, less saturated greens, and occasionally some oranges can actually be cooler colors, and those are colors that might make you think of winter. Now, currently my build has a lot of blacks and whites, so there's not a huge toning right now, but adding this greenish blue roof is what's going to give it a much cooler tone. And I can warm it up or cool it off even more by adding other details, which is something I'll do later. Now, we want to look at the contrast between colors. Usually if you want something with a more modern vibe, then you'll go for more contrast. That might be something like white and dark blue, black and green, etc. If you want something more rustic, you'll use less different colors and more shades of those colors. So lots of different shades of grays, browns, reds, basically any color that you like. And this is what I've done with the walls of the castle. While there aren't all that many different colors, there are lots and lots of different shades of gray and brown and even a little bit of black all through them. And this kind of comes down to helping give your build a story too, actually. By following this type of rule, you are actually kind of following what really happens. In the past, a lot of times people didn't have as many resources as we do nowadays, so they would start with one resource to build something, then they'd run out, and so they'd have to find something that looked similar but wasn't quite the same. And now in modern times we have a lot more material production, and so we can get a lot of the same material, and that results in a more unified looking build simply because everything looks the same. It's not made of different materials. And the story of your build isn't something I'll be getting into until much later in this series, but it is a little something I wanted to touch on. The story of your build is kind of a background of it. Not so much of a physical story like a book on a lectern, but more along the lines of the explanation for your build. Obviously, if your build were to have a spaceship in it, we would know it's from modern times. If it were to have, who knows, maybe a drawbridge, that would pretty much be more medieval times. But it might not be things quite that explicit in their detailing. It might just be things like color or texturing, and you can do that. Paired with some of those bigger details, you have a really good, full, self-explanatory build, and that's something that's really important. And this is just one of many ways to convey the story. I'll be touching on so many others in a few episodes from now. Now, I hope you enjoyed this episode. Once again, if you have questions, please leave them below. I will answer them as many as I can, and let me know how you're getting on with your castle. Bye!